Today, we're going to talk about a situation that once again shows how politics, media narratives, and the legal system often collide in very complicated ways. In recent days, several viral clips and commentary videos have been circulating online claiming that judges have dramatically destroyed or exposed false claims made by former US President Donald Trump in court. But as with many viral political stories, the reality is more complex than the dramatic headlines suggest. So in this video, we're going to break down what actually happened, what the courts have said, and why understanding the difference between viral narratives and real legal proceedings matters. Let's start with one of the most discussed examples. In a New York case widely referred to in media coverage as the hush money case, the court issued what is known as a gag order. A gag order is a legal instruction from a judge that limits certain public statements about a case. Typically, these orders are designed to protect the fairness of the trial by preventing attacks on witnesses, jurors, or court staff. During public comments and interviews, Trump suggested that the gag order prevented him from testifying in his own defense. However, during court proceedings, the judge clarified that the gag order did not prevent testimony. Instead, it only restricted specific types of public statements that could influence the legal process. Legal reporters covering the case noted that the judge explained this point directly in court, emphasizing that defendants maintain the right to testify if they choose. This type of clarification is not common because judges typically avoid engaging with statements made outside the courtroom. But when public confusion begins affecting understanding of the case, courts sometimes clarify the record. The situation didn't stop there. In the same case, the court later found that certain public statements made online violated the restrictions of the gag order. As a result, the judge issued several contempt findings and financial penalties. In legal terms, contempt of court occurs when someone fails to follow a court order. These rulings were documented in official court records, and the judge warned that repeated violations could lead to stronger consequences. It's important to understand that contempt rulings are procedural tools used by courts to enforce their orders. They are not unusual in high-profile cases where public statements can potentially affect jurors or witnesses. Another major legal development involving Trump came from a separate New York civil fraud case. In that case, the court examined financial documents related to the Trump Organization. After reviewing evidence and testimony, the judge concluded that some financial statements included property valuations and representations that were inaccurate. The court's written decision detailed these findings step by step, explaining which claims were considered misleading and why. Legal analysts often describe these kinds of rulings as methodical rather than dramatic. Judges typically present their reasoning through long written decisions that explain the legal basis behind their conclusions. However, online videos often present these legal developments in a very different way. Many viral clips frame these events as if there was a single dramatic courtroom moment where a judge systematically exposed multiple false claims one after another. In reality, what happened is more gradual. Court findings appear across different hearings, written rulings, and legal documents over time. Instead of one dramatic confrontation, the legal process unfolds slowly through evidence, arguments, and formal decisions. That difference matters. When viral videos exaggerate courtroom events, viewers may expect to find one specific explosive moment. When that moment doesn't exist exactly as described, it can create confusion about what actually happened, but the underlying facts remain significant. Across multiple cases, courts have issued rulings, corrections, and findings related to statements, financial documents, and legal arguments connected to Trump and his businesses. Each of those findings becomes part of the broader legal record. Legal experts say credibility is extremely important in court proceedings. When judges question statements or issue findings that certain claims were inaccurate, it can affect how future arguments are evaluated. At the same time, it's also important to remember that legal systems include multiple layers of review. Appeals courts, additional hearings, and further legal arguments can all influence the final outcomes of cases. So the story here isn't about one dramatic courtroom showdown. Instead, it's about an ongoing legal process playing out across several different cases, where courts examine evidence, issue rulings, and gradually build a record over time. Understanding that process helps separate viral storytelling from real legal developments, and in today's media environment, that distinction is more important than ever. Because when political stories spread quickly online, they often become simplified into dramatic narratives. But the legal system doesn't operate like a movie scene. It moves slowly, carefully, and through detailed documentation. and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So while viral videos may highlight intense moments, the reality is a much broader pattern of legal proceedings unfolding step by step in courts across the United States. And as these cases continue moving forward, new rulings and developments will likely keep shaping the political and legal landscape. For now, the key takeaway is simple. The real story is not a single dramatic moment, but a long legal process that is still evolving. And in a system built on law and procedure, that process often matters more than the headlines. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the way viral political videos present courtroom events? Do they help explain complex issues, or do they sometimes create more confusion? Let's talk about it.